G'day YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's very serious video, because you know why? I am very, very angry, because you know what happened recently today? I have actually been lamenting so much about how much I've been stressing about to make the animation. And yes, it's basically like part 2 of what I've just rendered so far in February of 2024. So I need to actually hold up the webcam a bit gently, of course, and obviously I don't really seem to make these videos on YouTube, but I have to, because, you know, I don't often tend to make videos like that for the general audience, because, yes, I do know that, you know, being angry isn't really that much healthy, but healthy at the same time if you just want to get out of something on my chest. Even if I had a really bad day, I mean, that's very much necessary, okay, because, obviously, the animation I'm working on, I mean, the good news is I'm working on it, and I'm also currently working on the final draft of the animation. Sorry, my nose is itching here, because it's supposed to be cold. And yes, I do know that I'm not normally that much of an argumentative type person on my YouTube channel, and also in public, because, well, obviously it's very unusual to have someone who is argumentative at times, but hey, that's how the world works. And yes, as you may have known me on my YouTube channel, I'm one of those stupid YouTubers who often doesn't wear anything related to YouTube and actually doesn't seem to, you know, well, except for college, okay, so except for college, except to some places, but not to strangers. It's only the people I know of, okay, so obviously I don't really wear anything YouTube in the store, okay, but let me just tell you a significantly large story that has been around ever since December of 2023 during my trip to Malaysia. I hope everyone is going to be listening to this right here, because I'm sorry, but I have to really come here, but look how I'm feeling. Okay, so look how I'm feeling, because very importantly enough, if I wasn't angry, then things would have been completely done over. Okay, so things would have never been done over and over, and that's it, because if I wasn't angry, nothing would be solved. Because I don't know what to really say, but I'm sorry if I have to sound angry and mad at this video, but I have to get through this debacle. Like, let's just say about when was it? Like I can't remember. I was like 9 o'clock a.m. I think it was about 7 hours ago. When at that time, though, just as I was actually being told that the bus was nearby, I just said to the guy who was actually next to me, and I said to me like, "I know that, okay?" And I was like, I could have raised my voice, and that would have solved everything. Or maybe that would have never solved everything, okay? I could have just raised my hollowed voice, I could have just hollowed out my voice, and that would have solved everything. And everything would be fine here. Everything would have been totally fine if I would have raised my voice. But then at the end, I would have never ever thought of doing that, because it would have ended up utter chaos. Or maybe it would have been the opposite. Obviously, how many times do I really need to tell you lots of these stories? Like, should I tell you the story like 10 million times, or whatever the heck am I doing? Like, this story has been around, and it's been very continuous. Okay, so this just goes to show me how much emotion am I just going to be putting up for. I'm sorry, once again, I just have to be very assertive, but, you know, for the sake of my heart, I have good heart, and I'm one of these people who doesn't tend to be very, you know, very much, you know, argumentative and very, you know, confrontational at times. But this time, I was in a very unstable position. In fact, I had lots and lots of very bad moments so far of late. And, you know, the animation I've been making so far, which is the one that I was talking about, the one I've been working on, which is the rice paddy fields one, that has been taking so much time for me to make on YouTube, okay? And I know it's going to be released sometime on Saturday or Sunday of this week. And I hope by the end of this week, I am not going to feel really ticked off like I am now, okay? So, because of all the very traumatic and very distressing moments that I had in December when I had to walk into that store in Malaysia, I think it was called Eco Shop, which was like a little Malaysian version of Poundland, I think it was like a little discount store for like, for 2 ringgits 50, I guess, for 2 ringgits each. Can't really remember what it was, but I went to that store during Christmas time, and there were a lot of Christmas decorations being sold, and one of them was like a little Poundland like Santa Claus decoration, and I accidentally pulled the tag out, And I got in fact, obviously, I was with my dad at that time, and of course what really happened was, my dad was being a bit firm. He said to me that if I pull any tags out, there could be a bit of a fine, and that's what store life is like in Malaysia. Okay, so, and then things started to get even more uneven, and even more deteriorating, and worse. I went to iCity Mall, because I was after for crying babies, because obviously, you know, I saw that guy, and I cried so hard. Like, in fact, I actually went into depression for 3.5 days! Okay? How would you feel if you ever had 3.5 days on your trip, like, for example, to Malaysia? Unsatisfying! Like, seriously, if you would have actually had a trip like that, that would have been unsatisfying, okay? So, you know, that was yada yada yada. I went to that mall, I went to 2 malls in Malaysia, okay? And then I actually, at the very end, later on, after a very depressive moment, going back to Malaysia last year, after my dad's mother has passed away, I coped so well, but hey, I did lots of bad things in my lifetime, but, you know, that really has affected, and I mean, you know, when I was stressed back in December of 2023, that didn't affect the Christmas animation that I was making on. But this time, going up towards the 31st of January, it actually started the biggest debacle so far in 2024. You think 2024 was a very good year for me now? No! Not really at all, you know! You know, I thought 2024 was going to be really great. I mean, look what happened to Japan. You know, the bloody earthquakes at the start. And then you also had the plane crash that also followed it. And then also, what happened to me now? Like, what happened on the 31st? Did I really have a very good time at the Winterbourne House and Gardens? No! I didn't! And that was what was happening. That really caused the biggest debacle ever. And that was like hurting convenience. Hurting absolute convenience. Like, seriously. You know, the Rice Paddy Field animation was brought up like that because I was suffering from depression from Malaysia, and that was the idea. That was when, after that debacle on the 31st of January, when we went to the Winterbourne House and Gardens, and that was also because, you know what was the real cause of that debacle on the house gardens at Winterbourne, around Surrey Oak? It was those bloody wet furnitures, okay? And I was being told to just watch out for those wet furnitures, and I was just fuming. I was just fuming a bit gently. I didn't raise my voice, and maybe, like in that so many times, I would have raised my voice. But then, that would have solved nothing. Or maybe that could be the opposite. Okay, seriously, going back to what happened. Now, obviously now, you know, I'm just gonna grab my fist now because I would have had a brown paper bag. I would have had a brown paper bag to calm me down. Now, after that, what really happened after the 31st of January, I then cried on the 2nd of February. I cried so hard that it was often, you know, the result of me going to the worst place. That was just, you know, what followed 2 days later. You know, on the 1st of Feb I was pretty much fine. But then on the 2nd of Feb, I felt very, very mortified. And I cried so hard that on the 2nd of Feb, I cried so hard. In fact, I cried so hard that alongside with my friend, who begins with K, who was suffering from ideas, suffering from a lot of stress, because I'm not going to mention her name, but obviously, you know, like I said, I've already been resilient to stress. And I mean, I've already endured so many stressful moments when I was actually in a different place last year on the first half of 2023. And even though I didn't make any videos at all, and I would have got my webcam, but thank God it wasn't here. Maybe it would have been like that. Or maybe I would have just, you know, told my dad to grab the freaking webcam as I'm filming here. I'm pointing like that because it's the webcam that I'm filming here. It would have been solving everything, okay? It would have solved big time to solve every single wrongdoing I've been doing. Any mistake I've been doing, it would have been either a good or a bad thing to just, you know, holler out all the things I've done bad. Okay, so I had enough. I had enough! Like, seriously. Sorry, my mouth is just switching. Like, I literally had enough of all those bad stuff. Like I'm still learning. Okay, so I'm sorry I have to be very angry and chastise right in front of camera. And I hope you guys aren't going to be having a bad day just like the one I'm having now after chastising myself. I mean, you know, to talk about the animation that I'm just progressing on February of 2024, that was something. Because, you know, even though I'm working on my final draft on post-productivity and also some additional frames, overall, the time to work on the animation hasn't been too bad after all. And it's not one of the worstly complex animations, it's not one of the most detrimental or complex. And yes, I've been sticking to the deadline of the 11th of March, but I've decided to upload the video as early as Saturday or Sunday of March, the 9th or the 10th of March respectively. Okay, so for 2024, so I'm just looking outside here, so I'm just making sure everything's okay. So, to continue on with what I've just said before, after that, on half term, on Valentine's Day, I felt very insecure. Okay, I was told to tie my shoelaces, and then I got a little bit ticked off. But I didn't say anything. Okay, so I did not say anything when I was on my wet trip to Kingsley Park. It was around 24 minutes on Valentine's Day. And it was the worst Valentine's Day ever I actually had. Okay, February was pretty much in between of what was to come. Okay, so that was the month of the animation I've been working on, but also a lot of stress, because what also came with it was alongside with the stress that I was enduring from Malaysia, and also the stress I was enduring on the 31st of January, and you know, it's stress after stress after stress and stress after stress after stress. I mean, how would you feel if you really keep on remembering of all the bad things you've done? Shafted! I would have been completely shafted. I mean, I can't get any angrier than that. You know, I could cry at any moment though, but I've never felt this mad at any moment. Because you know what happened today? I nearly got killed! Okay, so, I nearly got killed, and I was in total insecurity that what really came just before that was, I was told that the bus was here, okay? I was so insecure, okay, so, I was just in deep remorse, and I was just feeling so silently, I was fuming. I mean, obviously, the story also continues. I mean, before that, that was also the moment when, you know, I just like, you know, I actually, you know, when somebody with me, I was like, you know, you could have been killed, I mean, and I was like, you shouldn't run like that, and you know, there's a guy who said, you shouldn't run like that, and I was like, who cares about that? And I was like, you know, that was another thing that really hurted my convenience. Hurting convenience over, you know, the animation, and also the self-willing of myself, and the self-well-being of me, and the self-well-being for not only just me as well, but also the people of the entire community of Birmingham, but also the rest of other people around the world. Okay, so, like I said, I'm not one of these big YouTubers who makes one of those stupid videos. Like, I'm just ranting because I've just enjoyed such a very, very bad moment so far today. Only just very briefly, and I did run off furiously, but I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything bad. It's just that I had a very difficult time. Okay, so, I mean, I've already also endured a very bad half term as well too. I mean, it wasn't always bad, but obviously, maybe except for Valentine's Day, or maybe even that trip on Saturday when I was just determined to film some chickens. Woodgate Valley Country Park, which had a little farm in it. And then, of course, I scolded at my dad. I raised my voice at my dad, and I felt really gutted after that because of just how remorsefully bad it was. And honestly, I'm sorry I have to sound really angry and really remorseful over the certain wrongdoings about it. And obviously, I'm hoping that by tomorrow, on Thursday, I'm going to have a very decent time of giving myself a bloody rest before I get completely mad like this. Okay? How would you feel if you want to make a complete rant again on my YouTube channel? Or maybe for your YouTube channel? It would be quite very relatively embarrassing. And of course this, I would feel very relatively embarrassed by the end of the day. And you know, very shafted. And another thing, I'm really sorry I've been running over the video, because another thing I also want to, let me tell you this, what really also ended up was that after all of that stress, what really ended up was just how complex the animation it became, and guess what? I'm now into my final stages of the animation. I'm making lots of it on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and possibly on Sunday. I can't really remember what I can say here, but yeah, the animation is nearly done, and of course, yes, it really does tick me off whenever I've got, the other thing I've also had to contend was those delayed upload videos because of the animation I've been working on. I've got so many delayed upload videos for my A7 tablet, and it's already been back at the hospital, and guess what? I've still got an obscene lot of videos to do! And what more can I say about me today now? Am I just completely furious over the wrongdoings I've done and the mistakes I've done? Yes, I am, but not just always, because they'll be remembered, and I'll not self-blame of doing it. It's just the way of learning. Okay, it's a very big learning process, and it's a very genuine way to say it. Okay, I'm sorry I had to lose my temper and composure over the making of this video, because I am just so shafted because of what I've done was wrong. Maybe there would have been another version of me. Okay, so it would have been very fair if I could just imagine myself there was another, possibly a little devil version of me. Okay, that would have been very much more obvious in a sense. And I had enough of this debacle that has been very much within me after all of that strife to put up the animation. And guess what? Lots of stressful moments had really accumulated the computer big time. Because as I'm looking at the computer now, it's about 9.83 gigabytes right over at my local disk. And also the data that I'm having on my hard drives in a sense. I've got 2 to 3 hard drives. And, it's actually causing a bit of a kerfuffle. I never had a big kerfuffle like this so far, ever. Like, literally. Like, the last time I had the biggest kerfuffle I ever had in my life was way back in 2021 when I read about Halloween and Christmas merging together. Just after Halloween time. Back in 2021. That was a big rant. But I just hope this never happens again. Because I had enough. I had enough. And that's it. Because it's the end of the line, end of the stress, end of the stress train, and that's final. All of it has gone to waste. And I'm sorry I have ranted so hard. Now everything's all back in harmony. Okay, so I'm really sorry I've been so angry of late, but I had to come along and make one of these videos. And I know I really hate making these types of videos for the genuine public, because, I should have been very relatively open, but I'm remembering I'm not really relatively that open, but also at the same time I am. Obviously, whenever I'm during such stress, it's always best to seek help. And that's the big moral I've learned so far. And of course, yes, I could just imagine myself, if I would have endured so much stress, everyone will be gone. And I'll be gone too. I need to grab my fist. So, at the end of this video, if you really loved it or hated it, please like or dislike of what I've just said in this video at all times, because, there's a huge division of how things are going to be done. Please like or dislike whatever you've seen so far in this video. And subscribe for more flip-out videos in the future. And as always, thanks for watching. And bye for now. I'm feeling a little bit quite ill, but I'm actually starting to feel better after making this video.